Hi there, so I decided to go ahead and film myself doing some resin pieces, and I want to share with you some of my tips and some of the tricks that I use to create the perfect resin charms or pendants. So here is the resin that I use. I use Easy Cast epoxy resin. Of course, you can use any type of epoxy resin that you want. I always use Casting Craft white color pigment in 99% of my resin pieces. Along with that, I do use acrylic paints. Now, I always start out with a white base, and then I normally add the acrylic paints to that. If you add too much acrylic paint to your resin, sometimes it will not cure properly. So that's why I always start out with a Casting Craft pigment paint. Also, I do use tattoo inks, but this is fairly new to me, which is the small yellow bottle I just showed. So I'm testing it out, and I will do a update video of how it actually works. Of course, you can use any type of plastic cup to mix your resin together. I always use extra fine glitter. You can pick this up at Walmart, which is where I pick mine up at. I don't know how much it costs, but it is a huge jar of extra fine glitter. Here I just have my molds laid out, and I have already begun the process of doing my first layer. So I have the 3 Tamagotchi molds, a random star mold, and then I have my newly made cupcake slice mold. For this mold here, I will be using stickers. Now, when using stickers in your resin, it's really easy to do. You just want to pour in a thin layer of clear resin. You want to use a heat gun to pop any bubbles that you will see on the surface, and then you just want to put your stickers on there after it has cured. So as you can see here in my molds, I have my first layer. The yellow resin that you see is the tattoo ink mixed in with the white Casting Craft, and the purple bowl that you see in the cake slice mold is just acrylic paint. And in the Tamagotchi mold, I just have a layer of the white Casting Craft mixed in with the resin. And that's the first layer for the Tamagotchi mold, which is the buttons on that mold. That star mold, I just have a thin layer of clear resin. I heat gun the bubbles out, and that's the one I will add stickers in as well. And here I'm just showing you the tattoo inks. Again, I purchased the tattoo inks from Amazon. I received about 32 different colors. So I'm not sure how well it works, but I will do an update video of using the tattoo inks with resin. But it really is a nice color. If you are looking to purchase that that cake slice mold, again, it's fairly new. I just listed it on my website. I will put a link to it in the description box below. And I'm just showing you the heat gun. I purchased that from Hobby Lobby. And also, the pink and purple things that you see under my molds is clay. Most of the time, resin molds are not completely flat, so you can use clay to prop up your molds. You can use cups, you can use cookie cutters, you can use anything you want to prop up your molds, so when you're pouring in your molds, it's completely even. So again, here I'm just using some clay that I had. And I'm using cookie cutters, and I'm using cups as well. Because you want your resin pieces to be even. You don't want the resin to drip off or any of that. So for the rest of this video, I'm going to speed it up to make it a little faster. So I'm working on my second layer, and what I'm doing here, I'm using the cap that actually came with the resin to measure out the amount of resin that I want to use. When I'm working with layers, I normally don't use that much resin, so I'm using a little cap to measure it out. Of course, once you pour your resin or mixture into your cups, you do want to mix it up, and it will turn cloudy and it will be a little streaky, but you want to keep mixing it until you do not see any more streaks. And your resin will start to turn clear as well. And it's okay if you see bubbles in your resin mixture, because you can go back and use a heat gun to pop out any bubbles. So for the second layer for my Tamagotchi mode, I decided to go ahead and do a thin layer of clear resin. And what I will do is I will use a heat gun to go in and pop any bubbles that I see, because I do not want that to be on my finished resin piece. And I will let it sit and cure, because I do want to add stickers on top of this clear layer. Now for my second layer for the cake mold that I'm using, I decided to go ahead and use clear resin, because for this thin strawberry area that I'm filling in with the resin, I really didn't want to color all of my resin with the glitter. I'm using Martha Stewart glitter and it's bubblegum pink. I will go in and add a tiny bit of acrylic paint to this second layer. So what I'm doing here is just mixing up the colors right on top of the mold, and of course the first layer is completely cured, so I will not affect the first layer in any way, and it will not show up on your finished piece. So here's the acrylic paint that I'm using. It is a hot pink color, and I'm just mixing it in right on top of the mold. Again, you don't want to use a lot of acrylic paints when working with resin, because if you do, sometimes your piece may not cure properly. It can be flexible or sticky. So with this star mold, I already have a thin layer of clear resin, and I have heat gunned the bubbles out, and it is completely cured, and I'm going to add my sticker right on top. So when adding stickers to your resin, you do want to do a thin layer. Make sure you heat gun any bubbles from the surface, because it will show up on your finished piece. And then you just add your sticker and you want to smooth it out. The thing I like about my clear molds, you can see any type of imperfections, which is what I'm doing here. I'm turning the mold over, making sure there's no type of bubble or anything going wrong with my resin piece. Now when working with smaller stickers, you can use a pencil, which is what I'm doing here, to kind of help you place the sticker in the desired area that you want, because sometimes it can be a little tricky to get those little tiny stickers into your mold. So just use a pencil, or you can use a dotting tool as well. So of course I do want to put some glitter on. You just add your glitter right on top, and you can save your glitter for future projects as well. So for this mold, I'm basically doing the same thing. I already have a thin layer of clear resin, which I have heat gunned and popped out all the bubbles, and I'm just adding my sticker on top, smoothing it out, and then I will add glitter, and then add my last layer, which will be the white resin for the background. So clay do come in handy when you're propping up your molds. As you can see, I'm using it here. So this is my last layer for the star and the heart mold, and I'm just mixing in my Casting Craft in white pigment, and that's it. Of course, I will heat gun any bubbles I see on the surface for my last layer for these molds as well. So it's fairly easy to add stickers into your molds. I mean, you just add a thin layer. You can wait until the clear layer is tacky, or you can wait until it's completely cured. For these particular molds, they were completely cured. And you want to do this because you want to avoid any bubbles popping under your sticker without you knowing. So I'm just using my heat gun and I'm just popping any bubbles I may see. And of course I will do the same for this mold as well. And I'm just checking the mold and making sure I don't see any bubbles under the sticker. Now, a lot of people are allergic to resin, so you do want to use some type of protection. You can use gloves, of course. Me personally, I don't use anything when working with resin. A trick that I have learned when working with resin is keep baby wipes with you, around you when you're working with resin, because then you can easily just wipe it off. Another thing is, if the resin has already begun to get sticky on your hands or fingers, I learned that using a good hand sanitizer do help get the resin off my hands. I just put a lot on my hands, rub it in, and the resin starts to kind of crumble up, and then I just wash it off. So that's a good tip. You can use some good hand sanitizer to get resin off of your hands or your skin. Of course, if you get it on your clothing, then you're just stuck with it on your clothing. I haven't found a way to get resin off clothing yet, so. And as you can see, I'm just using a baby wipe to wipe off the resin. You don't really have to do that, but yeah, I did. So as you've seen, it was 12 a.m. in the morning, and now it's 10:30 in the morning. So I was up all night, and so I'm back at it again at 10 something in the morning. So of course my clear layer for the Tamagotchi mode, which is my second layer, has cured, and now I just want to add my stickers. Now for this particular mode, I didn't want my first layer to be completely cured, so what I normally do is when I have a mold that I have resin in it and I don't want the resin to be cured and I need it to be a little tacky, I do use a heat gun and just heat gun the area that I want to kind of remelt the resin, and then I'm able to add the stickers. So as you can see here, it was a little difficult to put the sticker on until I heat gunned the area and kind of remelted it. Now I'm not sure how well heat gunning resin that is completely cured or that is thick, it probably will not remelt the resin, but with a thin layer like this, it was fairly easy for me to remelt the resin and stick the sticker on top. I hope that made sense. You can use a heat gun to remelt resin if it's not totally completely cured and if it's a thin layer, and that can come in handy. Trust me, because I have used that technique many times. If I come back and check on a resin piece and I see that a sticker has floated in the wrong area, I will remelt the resin and move this sticker. Or if I see hair or a bubble somewhere where I don't want it, I use my heat gun and I heat gun the area until it melts. So yeah, you can do that. I'm not sure how I figured that out, but yeah, it works. So as you can see, I have already done I think this is the third layer for the Tamagotchi mold. And for the color, I'm just using acrylic paint and of course the white casting craft. And I'm heat gunning the Tamagotchi mold to pop the bubbles. And you really didn't have to do it for the cake slice because you won't see any bubbles once you put on the last layer. So this is the next day, and I'm using a really tacky or sticky blue resin for my, I'm not sure what layer this is, maybe fourth layer, because I really didn't want it to be like completely watery, not watery, but I didn't want the resin to move over into the pinks because my pink wasn't really completely cured. So I hope that made sense. So I'm not sure what day it is, but it is the next day, and I already popped out my Tamagotchi mold. Pieces, as you can see here, and now I'm going to do a white layer right in the middle, and then I'm going to add a sticker and glitter, and then add my last layer of resin. So it seems like with the Tamagotchi mold, I think I did about 5 layers. So I'm doing the white layer, and then I will add some hot pink. We'll paint on some hot pink details and then add the sticker, the glitter, and then my last layer will be completely clear. And for the cake slice mold, of course, my last layer is white, so I'm just adding the white resin. I'm going to heat gun it, and I'm done with the cake slice. So it's the next day, and here is the finished result. As you can see, I painted on the hot pink details, and then I add my last layer of the clear. Of course, I did add the stickers, as you can see. And that's really about it. I hope this video was kind of helpful for you. What do you think about my resin pieces? Do you like? If you're looking to purchase the Tamagotchi mold, of course, and my newest mold, which is the cake slice mold, then I will put a link to it in the description box below. Here's some more pieces that I made. I think I covered everything in this video. But if you have any more questions, you can always just comment down below and ask me. Now, if you pop out your pieces and you see that you do have a weird edge, you can use a nail file to just file it down. If you have a lot of kind of ugly edge, you can use scissors to cut it first and then use a nail filer to file it down. Or I can use one of those electric nail filers, which is useful, especially if you have a lot of resin pieces. So that's another tip as well. So I think I covered everything with adding stickers and propping up your molds with clay and cups or cookie cutters or anything you can find. Using the heat gun to remelt your resin. Adding color to your resin. You don't want to use too much acrylic paint because sometimes your pieces won't cure. You've seen me do different types of layers. And what do you think about my cake slices? Do you like it? So yeah, I hope this video was useful. I hope you learned some things, because it's really easy to do resin. It may seem intimidating, but it's really easy. So just have fun with it. Be very patient if you have a mold that requires tons of layers, because the end result will turn out really cute. So I hope you guys like this video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up if you do, and tune in next Friday for my next craft video. Bye bye.